the real reason why you probably will never dunk, and a lot of people feel this way, myself included, is that you're doing all the right training, you're doing everything right, you just can't seem to be able to break that plateau, whether it be touching the backboard, touching the rim, maybe getting some rim grazers, or maybe you just feel like you're too short, which a lot of people feel. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. But the real reason is you don't have the breaks needed to actually have the output you need to jump at your max. Probably a lot of you have felt when you're sprinting. I don't know if any of you guys have done track, but you're sprinting as fast as you can. This other guy is just going way faster. No matter how hard you're trying, it's because your body won't allow you to actually go faster or jump higher because of your body's natural defense mechanism. And that's the same as the reason why a Ferrari goes so fast. A Ferrari goes so fast because the Ferrari has the proper brakes needed. If a Ferrari couldn't stop, it wouldn't be a Ferrari. It would crash immediately. But the human body is a little more complex than a car, right? So your body knows what your body can handle, and that's why certain individuals who don't do the right training and certain people who have the natural genetics can jump higher is because their body can actually handle that, right? And that's your body's natural way of preventing injury. Okay, so imagine you jumped off of a 100-foot cliff. Okay, imagine you jumped off a 100-foot cliff and you landed, you'd probably die, right? And then keep lowering that down. Imagine it was 10 feet. Okay, you'd probably hurt something, your knee, your ankle, something like that, right? So your body, when you're jumping, right, that's essentially the same thing. Okay, certain people can handle certain more forces, and that's the input output, right? So if you can handle the load or the input when you're jumping, that's crucial. Okay, because imagine you had the strength or the capability to jump off of a 10-foot, 20-foot platform, and you wouldn't get injured, right? That's very important because then that would allow you to jump higher, and that's why perfecting the landing of your jumps, the ability to stop when you're sprinting, that is super super important. I mean, you've probably felt this. I mean, I've felt this. Sometimes, if I hadn't been playing for a while, a certain sport, or you're running, and you have the capability to go faster, but you don't. Or maybe you're sprinting. You're sprinting at something, and you just have a natural tendency to stop. That's because your body knows that. Your body's very complex, and that's why being able to stop, it gives you the confidence, subconsciously, to actually go out and do that, right? And that brings me to the next point. So that's strength. So how do you develop the strength? How do you develop the right strength and the capabilities to actually give you that input-output ratio that will allow you to jump higher, okay? Number one is force absorption, okay? And force absorption is what I talked about earlier, okay? Being able to withstand the amount of force. So if you go up and jump as high as you can, being able to withstand the force, withstand the force where you jump 30, 40 inches, being able to withstand a 30, 40 foot drop without getting injured, without getting tendon pain. And how you do that is you have to do the right things in the weight room, okay? And a lot of conventional training is the sport specific angles, okay? And that's great, that's good, but not for training force absorption, okay? Training force absorption is on the way down, okay? And not everything has to be such fast twitch, okay? That's what the sports. That's what playing your sport. That's what actual jumping, running. That's the fast twitch that you need, right? If you're constantly just training fast twitch all the time, that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, you can apply that to anywhere else. You know what I mean? If you're constantly just training one-dimensionally, you're not going to get the best results. So in the weight room, you need to focus on slow, eccentric training. Okay, and even if you're doing plyometrics, do plyometrics that teach you how to absorb force. Okay, absorb force. So when you jump and when you land, you don't get injured. Certain things like that are doing depth jumps are really great. Depth jumps, and that brings me to the next point. So mobility and full range of motion. Okay, that's super important as well, because when you're running to do an approach jump, you have to get low and you have to get low fast. Okay, and if you don't have the proper ankle mobility, the hip mobility, ankle and hip mobility to be able to get in those positions, you're going to compensate and you're not going to be able to get those full ranges of motion, and that can lead to tendon injuries. Okay, just imagine you're going up the jump, and your ankle can't bend to that certain angle. Okay, and that's what causes joint imbalances and muscle imbalances, which I struggle with. Okay, so I'll tell you a little story. So when I was in grade 11, I was doing a lot of training in specific joint angles. Okay, I was doing a lot of quarter squats, deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats. All those things are great, but they can lead to muscle imbalance because I was loading up the weight so high that it was just about the number. Okay, and I was trying to. I was not strong enough to do this, but I think I was pushing like 275 on the squat, like a quarter rep, and I developed a hip injury, and I was constantly jumping off one foot as well. So during that time, my left hamstring, my left glute, was developing different properties, and that led to a lot of imbalances that actually hindered my progress for about a year. And I still kind of have that hip injury, and that's because I was training the specific joint angles all the time. Okay, I was constantly training the specific joint angles needed, but I wasn't addressing the untapped potential. Which this is the secret sauce. This is the untapped potential you need to be able to break through those plateaus. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have ever heard of ATG, knees over toes guy. I highly recommend you look into it. Knees over toes guy. It's all about full range of motion. So squat low, jump high. If you're training in the areas that don't get hit when you're jumping, or if you need to train everything in your legs, every muscle group, and leave nothing on the table. You have so much untapped potential in all these ranges of motion that you're not training. So when you squat low, you can hit the VMO in a way that doesn't get hit, and that there allows you to absorb more force. Okay, because when you land, the angle at which you land, okay, that's why a lot of people get knee pain. Is because when they land, the joint angles aren't the same as when they're jumping, and that's why you need to train those deep ranges of motion. And so I'll break down all of those in the next video. But research untapped potential and research knees over toes guy. It's probably, it will absolutely transform your jumping potential. Drop down in the comments what your best takeaway is. Go ahead and follow him. I'm going to be going through and showing you guys me following his training.